So this is an intro into solving equations that have parentheses and hence having to use the distributive property. So just a quick reminder, your goal is to get the variable by itself on one side and the constant would be on the other side. So just kind of some basic steps to follow that would be helpful. Remove any parentheses using the distributive property, collect like terms, add and remove any balance sets, and then always check. So here's a problem. So once again, do not do addition because there's a little multiplication in there, and so you have to do multiplication before you do addition. And so once again, in this case, you've got parentheses, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use the distributive property. What I like to think about is this process of sign, number, variable. And so I kind of follow this as my guideline. And so when I follow this order, I'm less likely to make mistakes. So what do I mean by that? So here I have to distribute the positive 4 through. So I'm going to go through here. So first the 3 is not being impacted, so I'm just going to write the 3 down at this point. So 3, and I'm going to do my sign. Positive times a positive is a positive. Number, 4 times 2 is 8. Variable, there's only the x. Okay, same thing. I'm going to distribute the positive 4 through, so positive times a negative, so that's the sign, negative. Number, 4 times 1, 4, and there's no variable. A lot of people like to put a little kind of line down, kind of indicating the two sides of the equation. So equals 23. Then I'm going to look and I'm going to see, so I removed any parentheses, I'm going to see, do I have any like terms combined? So I like to kind of cover up one side, and so I'm looking at this side and I see a 3 and a negative 4 are like terms. So 3 minus 4 is negative 1, and I have the plus 8x. Bring the equal sign straight down, bring the 23 straight down, and then I'm going to kind of ask myself, okay, is the variable by itself on one side? No, I've got this minus 1 and 8 that I need to deal with. When we're doing this, we're going to do what are called this adding and removing balance sets. We do this by using inverse operations. Inverse just means kind of the opposite. So instead of minus the negative 1, the opposite of negative, or the opposite of minus is plus. So instead of minus 1, I'm going to plus 1 to both sides. I like to put little kind of lines underneath to kind of distinguish steps. So I have minus 1 plus 1. That's a 0 pair. Positive 8. So I'm just going to bring down the positive 8x equals, and then 23 plus 1 is 24. And I'm still asking myself the question, do I have the variable by itself? No, I don't. I have this 8 with it, so I ask myself what operation is between the 8 and the x, and that is multiplication. So the inverse of multiplication, you got it, is division. So often when we get into algebra, we'll show the division using the fraction bar instead. So I'm going to just write it this way, divide by 8. And then here you can see 8 over 8 is a giant 1, so that's just 1x equals 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this is my answer. I'm going to make it obvious. Now when we check, what we're going to do is we're going to write the original problem. So 3 plus 4, parentheses 2. Wherever there's a variable, I'm going to put little parentheses, minus 1 equals 23. So I've rewritten the original problem, and then I'm going to substitute in my answer, which I think is 3, into the parentheses, and then I'm going to solve. Once again, don't do addition before you do multiplication. So that 3 comes straight down, 3 plus 4, and I have 6 minus 1 is 5 equals 23, and then I have 3 plus 20 equals 23. 23 equals 23. I always want to get to this stage and actually show it. So when the left-hand side equals the right-hand side, that is good, and what that tells you is that this is indeed the correct answer. If these two sides don't equal each other, you need to go back and check your work to see where you made a mistake. Chances are it's at the sign number variable piece. Okay, so good luck with that, and it really is about practicing and kind of checking and seeing where where you make possible mistakes, and just practice, practice, practice. Good practice. Okay, best wishes.